Let's see. How does this work? Yep, and here we are, live again. Just gonna make some settings on my pad so I can follow the chat while I have to get myself some extra screen later. Hint, hint, if someone wants to give me something for Christmas. Nah. Now, I'm back. I worked this weekend a little bit, so night shifts are fun, but when you adjust your inner clock, you also get tired. I mean, I'm no spring chicken anymore. I'm just a guy in my best age for now. But I thought I'm gonna do some gaming, my own satisfactory save. I don't intend to be especially teaching today. I'm just gonna do some casual stuff, and let's see if someone pops up or leaves some fun comments. Always nice to read them. And yeah, I've been away a few days from everything basically, but that's working. And I did work on my own hand, literally. Here's my beautiful thumb. I hurt my hand when cutting some vegetables, so make sure to watch your grip so you don't slip, or you will pay for it. And you can't imagine how messy it can be sometimes. But anyway, I'm gonna try to change the band-aid a little bit later after this, but this will work for now. So here you go. Let's stay out of these kind of shenanigans and troubles. Okay. And what am I doing? I'm playing some Satisfactory. So back to the game as such. And this is my personal first time playthrough of the 1.0. So I'm just experimenting and trying out stuff. So this is not the one that I will share specifically only for when I stream. This is like this is more my casual stuff, to say this way. Anyways, I have completed phase 2 of this, building this platform, and I'm opening up. So let's go and look at the progress. Whee! And if you wonder why I'm jumping that far, I got these Blade Runners, which I find a very fun and nice name because they do speed up and you jump. But still, if you fall from very high, the little meter here on the left hand corner will tell you you done messed up. I like that expression. Thanks to Aaron for that one. Anyways, what I'm doing now, first of all, let's have a look at the progress in this game set. When you start out, we start out with these basic steps of the tier 0 is basically what they call the onboarding, where you get the hang of the most basic stuff which are needed to be able to at least have a decent chance of playing this game, right? Then we come to tier 1. They offer you some foundations which are very important because that means you can get a foundation, as it says, to place your machinery and stuff on, and it kind of helps you or get order and also when it comes to planning. What else do you get? You get conveyor splitter and the vertical conveyor or the lift. You get the splitter and you get the merger, which is great when you combine these conveyor belts and stuff. Also, you get the awesome map. You get the MAM, which is the analysis to open some special research. And this is scanner you get for some extra stuff. You have this option of pressing V and then selecting in the radial menu what kind of mineral stuff you want to look for. But then you have also this scanner for selected. So this is more direct, like targeting for one specific item, I think. I haven't used that much, so anyway. Then step 2 in the first phase is this, more machinery and parts. And then we get to go to the chainsaw, and you can fuel it with biofuel and some other fuel. But, I think you can, or if it's a mod that changes it. Anyway, I use biofuel for my chainsaw. It's a brutal and fun thing. But then again, it speeds up for you when you need to prepare and make some more fuel. We got more inventory stuff. Jump pads and landing pads is like big lumps of jelly. I never use those, really. It's not been my kind of thing, but never say never. I open it up and someday I might use it, or I may not, but we'll see. Sync is basically a way to get some extra stuff, like patterns, which I will show you later on, some design stuff, some walkway, some architectural stuff, some nice stuff to fix, and I can show you the awesome shop later on if you like to. Logistics, a faster belt. You can stack several, which is good. That means you can be more efficient. A faster lift, or as I like to say, a vertical conveyor, just to be me. So that was the first phase. Second phase, we got access to coal power, and I have made a few of those coal power generators. I'll show you. I got the cute little sugar cube tractor and access to automated transports. So I have made myself a few of those. More storage. Can't have too much storage, can you? Steel production. I've got that working. I'm pretty certain I must produce way more of steel, because I will need steel beams and steel pipe to produce stuff for sure. I got a better weapon, Xenobasher. Okay, I made it easy for myself. I put it on passive mode on the monsters, so I can either whack them or do something else. It's pretty funny for me. So second part of tier 2 is blueprints. This is something I haven't done much earlier, but I'm going to do. The blueprint designer is basically helping you to plan ahead, and then as long as you have the stuff you need to build, then you can just place out a blueprint, tweak it, adjust it where you want to have it, and then just activate it, and all the stuff comes flying from the inventory, and then you get it. We have reached the third level of the conveyors. The higher the level, the higher the transport ability or the speed. My favorite storage, the big lump. faster vertical. Pipeline support, so you can stack them. I think that can be good, because later on space will be a premium on places. So that's the second phase. I'm currently started the third phase. I have opened up the jetpack, but I haven't produced that much fuel for that one yet. So I will later on, but I haven't even made myself one of those. But hey, I will. Oil processing, yes, we have gone that far. So we have got into the oil processing. I've opened up the next level of transport, but transport conveyor. I'm not using these yet, but once I start to have materials I need for making those, I will. I've opened up this truck. It's a big truck, and I will use it for transporting stuff in between. But I haven't made any of those yet, but I will. And also I will paint them in different colors, just for the fun of it. I've got this started. I've got some packaging fluids, because you need, so you can bring water, you can bring oil, and all the other stuff that you can make. As you see now, we can start to look for make biofuel. That can be used either in vehicles or on the jetpack, which is fine by me. I'll do that later on. Also, I've just built my first fuel power generator, which gives a good addition to my needs of power, because this game takes a lot of power. Oh, hello, Sin. Do you want me to send you a link to... Yeah, I'll send you a link to the StreamYard. I just want to shoot the breeze and talk with you while I'm in the game. I thought I just wanted to be social for a moment. So I'm going to send you the link on Discord to you, and then you can join me in the studio, okay? So without further ado, let's get you in here. That's that, and click here and click there, and let's see where you got you. There we have you. So pick whichever account you like, as long as you feel at home. And there is the link. I sent it on Discord. Oh, there you go. I like when you got that blue on. You know, it matches my shirt. So join me in the StreamYard, and I'll add you, and then we can just talk some while we're gaming. Yeah, just let me know when. I keep my eye on the pad, so you just tell me when, and we'll fix that. But I thought, while I'm gaming a little bit, we can talk some little bit, just shoot the breeze, you know. It's been a while since we sat on the back porch and spoke about things, but we'll do that. Anyway, what I'm doing right now is this section. I've opened up something called the train, and I'm going to build railway and stuff later on, because then I can transport lodging. Yes, that song is lovely. Leanne Rimes is great. I always like to listen to her. And I have these things to do, and then I can start to do stuff for next tiers. So I would say I am OT5 if I'm going to be a little bit funny. And, well, the new faces will make stuff more fun. And I look forward when they start to make expansion for this game. This Satisfactory has been very long time in development. Yeah, some songs have lots of comforting power, and I know what these songs means for you, and I watched your video about it, so I can totally understand why you need that song. I mean, I had a few of those songs too in my life, so it's a very good thing to actually have a song or something to comfort, something to bring some kind of solace. I mean, a loss is a loss no matter how you put it, but sometimes it helps you deal with the impact anyway, and that can be hard enough as it is. So I'm picking up some stuff here. I'm not going to explain everything I'm doing. I'm just gaming a little bit. But nice to see you up. I mean, I know it's pretty early for you in the morning, but then again, I can imagine your time schedule is way off considering what happened. So, but let's make some motors because I need to have some more of these stuff, and then I can open up certain productions. And we'll see what I can make out of this. So we'll see soon. And we'll automate this kind of stuff later, but that means I have to make longer production chains, and right now I don't have the exact resource management to make that. So I'll have to work a little bit on my own here. Do stuff here, run stuff there. The more I can automate, the better it will be, but I'm in no rush yet here. So here's some drink. Gaming mug, says Super Mario. So let's see here. I'm producing these. While I do that, I can have a look at that. So I'm producing stuff I need for opening up yet one more slot or one more part of the progress. Let's see how far I got. Not enough space in inventory, so let's sort that one. That means I have the first 50 to throw in here. I need 200 of these, and these stack by, so I need to make 3 more stacks of those. I will. So before I do that, I think I had something to do over there. Let's see. What do I have in my bags? I don't really need to carry right now. You are just taking space there. And then that one will go to the sink. Yeah, I can show the sink while I'm at it. This funnel machine is like a trash can that gives you some kind of refund points for stuff, basically. You can't sink certain things that are like atomic waste. That's a no-no. You have to process it and make it. So this game kind of forces you to deal with things. So you don't get away with everything. Some stuff you get away with, but not everything. So let's pop this capsule in, and I'm using a fast belt. So it's in here already. It pops over there. And you see, I have coupons. So if I keep popping stuff, I get coupons. And I am producing some rotors basically in this machine. And well, it will tick slowly, but each coupon has a higher point limit. That's the sad part of it. I mean, well, you have to earn the stuff, I know. So anyway, you use the coupons in the shop. And you can buy this little cart if you want to run around in the factory. It's tiny and fun. You can change the game music. They have some tapes, and also you can actually discover or find some tapes. So this, my young friends, if you haven't seen, is a cassette. Oh, let's see. So you got in that far. Well, I'm going to pop over the window. There we go. Do you feel ready to join? Give me a thumbs up. Good.
Hey.
Hi there. Welcome. Long time no see, my friend.
Yeah, been a while.
So,
Yeah, what's up?
well, recovering from the weekend. Sounds like I'm being on a bender, but no. I worked 2 nights, and it almost takes me a few days to readjust my inner clock after I do that.
Yeah.
And I worked on my own hand, cut myself.
How the hell did you do that?
Simple. I slipped. I was cutting, the mandolin when you slice cucumbers and stuff. And
Let
well,
me guess. You didn't use a guard and you didn't use a cut glove.
no, I'm just. And then
Well,
it's
then you get what you
went
got.
down, then down, went down, and then ouch.
Mm-hmm.
And then my
Every
hand
time.
turned red.
Every time.
Every time. Do I learn? Well, it doesn't
Apparently
happen that
not.
often, but which one is
Sorry.
it?
That's Ozzy.
I'll say give her a bump.
Well, Ozzy's mad because he's locked out of the room and Sabbath is in here. So.
Ah, feeling a little bit unfair, are we?
Well, yeah, but if he and the little shit wouldn't jump on my bed and knock everything off, I wouldn't have to lock them out now, would I?
I mean, there are all consequences, right?
Exactly.
So, anyway, I'm just doing some satisfactory because this game doesn't demand too much
I hear you.
practicality, really. So I thought, see if anyone is around, jump, pop in, and
Well,
I'm very pleased to see that you got in. I mean,
yeah,
it's been
it's
a
it's been rough.
well, I
Really
was going to say it's been a trip to hell for you, literally.
rough. Literally. And back.
Yeah, and
Back again and back.
I'm glad to see that you have had support. I'm glad to see that some people have really turned up for you. And
Yeah, they have. They really have. I mean, the community's been incredible.
oh yeah, and I do wish I could have done more for you
Oh,
than I have
man.
really, because living on this distance is not fun always.
Oh, I know. And I mean, you have enough trouble with paying your bills. You don't need to worry about mine.
Well, I can always care for my friends. That's like
Very true. Very
that's
true.
the
And
best thing you can do.
very true. Yeah, it's been a difficult ride. I still don't believe it's happened.
Well, it is kind of a what you call this cognitive dissonance when
Yeah, just a little.
everything is there except that person. It's like
Yeah.
It's like this person is out of the room. You just expect that person to re-enter anytime soon. But then
Yeah.
again, you know that won't happen.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been, oh God, it's just so surreal. Um, it's almost like he's back out on the road, OTR, but it's been 3 weeks and he should have been home last week or this weekend. And yeah,
Yeah, but this route he's taking now is a very long route.
yeah, exactly. I'm still in a good bit of shock. Um, like I said, it's like I can't believe that it happened. Um,
Well, it has a natural reason because I mean, it's like my boss and some friends told me. I mean, there's a reason why it's called an accident, etc. Because
yeah, this wasn't an
it's
accident.
nothing on purpose. It's nothing you plan for.
Yeah,
It's more like once it's there, you have to all of a sudden you have to adapt and react to it, and that's
yeah,
not the easiest part in all times. I mean,
no,
and we
it
all do
isn't.
that in such different ways. And
Yeah. Yeah, my mood has been really screwed. Um, I'm really
well,
depressed, but yeah, I'm really depressed. And so one of the reasons I went ahead and popped on, saw you on and popped on is because it keeps me from sitting here in the corner and staring at the wall.
yeah, and as
You
you
know.
know, I will. I have wanted to just have a talk with you, just
Hmm.
whatever comes to the mind. I mean, that can also sometimes be helpful. It's not like
Yeah.
I'm trying to dig into this or
No,
poke
no,
in
I
this,
know
but
better. I know better than that,
yeah,
Deej. I mean, I find myself needing to talk about what happened just to cement it in my mind that it actually did happen, and to deal with the trauma that was
yeah,
involved with it because it was incredibly traumatic. I mean, just unbelievably traumatic.
yes, it is.
Um, no, I mean the whole how the whole thing went down was incredibly traumatic. Um,
Yeah, but as I say, then again,
yeah,
how can you plan ahead for something like that? No one wants to lose anyone that
no,
close and that important. I mean,
no. He's been my life for 26 years. I mean,
yeah,
um, it's not like we had separate lives and he was doing the OTR thing and I was doing whatever I was doing. We spent 5 years OTR together, and then ever since he came home in 2011, since the truck wreck, I've been with him almost constantly. So
yeah.
I mean, it is it's a whole new world. I will tell
Well,
you.
that is a special kind of bond.
Mhm.
And when you team up that closely with someone, I mean,
Mhm.
the emptiness gets much bigger. It's impossible that
It's
it wouldn't be like that.
yeah. And I keep thinking, move on, but I haven't even put him in the ground yet. And so it's hard to move on when you still have that hanging over you. And add to that, he was really the sole uh, income that we had. We lost a good over $5,000 in income in one day.
Yeah.
And now I'm dealing with the consequences of that. I'm trying to save the house. Um, I'm in the process of selling off his gadgets and things that he had, which is not the easiest thing to do. Not that I would use them, but at
No,
the
but
same
still,
time,
everything is a part of him, and when you
mhm.
sell off, it feels like one more part of him is disappearing out of your reach.
Yeah, yeah.
What
Um,
I was thinking about,
mm,
uh, I know that one or a few persons have done.
hmm.
They've taken the favorite shirt or stuff like that and made a pillow out of it, a pillow casing.
I don't know.
Well, in that way, then you have this favorite shirt accessible and you can hold it
Yeah,
anyways. Then you have something to hold on to those moments when it feels really. I don't say you have to do it, but I know some people
yeah.
have done it.
Well, I mean, the boys have kind of. I basically pulled everything out and said, "You guys go through it and keep what you want, get rid of what you don't want." And
Yeah.
you know, um, there's still certain things um, that I haven't. In fact, I, I'm really in a weird place because, excuse me,
No problems.
because right now I'm in the frame of mind is that I don't want to see anything. I can't deal with anything, but I worry about if I get rid of everything 6 months down the road, will I go back and think, God, I wish I hadn't got rid of that, you know?
Mm.
And um, so, I mean, that's kind of the quandary I'm in right now. Um, I have decided, even though I want more than anything to get rid of it right now, is I have decided not to. Um, is I have left his towel on the back of the bathroom door and his little scrub thing
Yeah.
in the shower. Um, and I'm leaving them there.
Yeah, and I think some decisions there are no need to rush certain decisions because I mean, first of all, what has happened, and you need first of all to find your feet.
Yeah,
So that's kind of like my point. I mean,
yeah.
the, you remember our advice to people:
Hmm.
don't just react, right? And
Yeah,
there's always a risk to feel like I have to do something, just do something.
yeah. Oh yeah. Something just to
Yeah,
keep my mind moving, something to keep my mind somewhat off of it. But it's been really hard because I'm in this inundation of paperwork, and about the time I get one inundation done, the next one hits. And so, like right now, I've gotten all of the funeral stuff done, um, with the exception of one piece, and well, actually, two pieces. And I have gotten uh, the holdup is I have one big roadblock right now, and it's huge, and I can't get past it. And it's the death certificate. I haven't gotten it yet, and although I filled the stuff out, um, and
yeah.
all
Red
that,
tape can be a problem
yeah.
sometimes. I mean,
So we're waiting for that to come in from the vital statistics people.
yeah,
Um, Once that happens, then the next round of inundation of paperwork starts for getting into Social Security and VA and all of that. And I have to send a copy of it to the cemetery. Uh, so I've got that to do. We're trying to figure out how to deal with the cars right now, and it looks like, from what I've read, I'm going to have to go to probate, which is going to cause me to have to spend money I don't have for attorneys. And I mean, there's just so fucking much.
I have
And
a stupid question for you.
yeah,
What advice would you want to give a couple to make things like these easier to handle in if something happens?
Life insurance policy, a will, and plan ahead.
I
Even if
mean,
it's a
you
young,
don't
I don't care
expect,
how old, how
yeah,
you are.
you don't
Um,
expect or want to leave, but if you do, you might at
mhm,
least think about those that you will leave behind.
mhm.
Many people kind of, I think many people feel threatened or afraid of dealing with that part
They
that
feel
is
invincible.
inevitable.
They
Ine-
feel
ine-
invincible.
how does you say inevitable? Yes.
Yes, it is. But they feel invincible. They feel like they have all the time in the world. And and it takes something like this to make you feel vulnerable, to make you realize that you don't have all the time in the world and that every day is a gift. Um, and every day it can be taken from you. And sorry, uh, something in my eye. Um, anyway, uh, I don't care how young or how old you are, a life insurance policy is a must. If he'd had one, I wouldn't be in the situation I'm in now. A will is another must. Again, if he had done that, I wouldn't be in the situation I am in now. Um, although I probably would still be monetarily in the same situation without the life insurance policy, but there's a lot of stuff that is can be avoided if there is a will, because you know where things are going to go. Not that anybody's arguing with me about that, but there are a lot of states, and Texas is one of them, where if there is no will, you have to go through probate, and probate is horrific. Um, it is where the courts decide um, who gets what. Um, in the state of Texas, you actually have to put an ad in a local paper for a week that lists all your assets, all your husband's assets, or the person who died's assets, and then allows for people to make claims against those assets. And of course, then they have to prove it, but it is still um, it's still gonna be gonna be tough. I mean, it's gonna require an attorney. You know, hopefully it is quick and easy. Like I said, the kids are not fighting me on any of this. They've all, to a person, said that anything that dad had is now yours, and I am in the process of doling that out. Um,
Well, at least you have that kind of comfort because that means
yeah,
at least less quarreling about that. I mean,
right. The
I've
only
seen people
Yeah,
literally fighting over spoons.
pennies. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just ridiculous.
yeah. Just,
Um,
let me say a
hey
shout out here
Maya.
to Maya also. She also is here, so
Yeah, I saw
she
that.
here to support you also. That's
Yeah,
great.
it's well, Maya, we're supposed to be getting it this week. I think what's happening is they have not released my husband's remains to my dad is picking those up. And so they have not released those at the crematorium yet to him. And I think what they're doing is waiting on the death certificate so that it all goes together.
Yeah,
Um,
that
so
is purely legal reasons. I
yeah,
know, understand why.
we are looking at this week. Um, at least that's what I'm being told. I will be contacting them again on Monday to see where we are, although I don't think we will have them by then. I'm thinking probably midweek. Um, anyway, uh, as for probate, the problem is Pete has a few debts, and there is some discussion. I've heard different things from different people, but what I've heard the most is that I need to go in and pay the debts that he and I both had together, which I managed to do. I've got one that's like 120 something, which I can probably do. But then there's another one that's about 3K and a little over actually. And it's an old vehicle that was a lemon that I'm going to fight them over. And if they really, really get pissy about it, then I'm going to turn around and say, fine, I'll declare bankruptcy and yours is the only thing that'll go in it and screw you people. But anyway, uh, and it was something that had come off our credit report. And unfortunately, I didn't realize it was the same company. And right before he passed, I had gotten a couple of credit cards or I had applied for a couple of credit cards that I was using to kind of help my credit score. And um, one of them was with the same company, and they've attached the two of them together. So now they know where I'm at, and they didn't know for years. And so, yeah. And basically, I'm not talking to them about that. I'm only dealing with the credit card and I'm not physically talking to them. They have tried to call me and I just didn't answer.
I
Um,
understand. May I
um,
just cut in a question?
sure.
Maya, would you like to join the conversation? I mean, I'm certain you should also have some questions and say something to Sin. If you want to, just let me know and I can send you an invite. If it's okay with you.
I'm fine. It's whatever.
Yeah, but
It's
I
your
thought,
show, not mine.
well, still, you know, you and
Hmm.
I, we are always a team when we do stuff.
Yes, I know. And you want to talk to me on one of your shows about grief, and
Yeah,
yeah, while it's still pretty raw, it's probably a good time.
I know, but it's no stress about
Mm,
because I have some ideas for you. One thing
yeah,
is, why not make some kind of a book about the stuff I wish I knew before?
yeah. Well, I'm already writing. I'm in the process of writing down the stories that he would tell.
Good.
I have asked people that I know and that knew him to do the same. Mainly because he has one daughter that his wife left him. His second wife left him when she, I want to say, was 2 or 3. She was very young, and then basically refused to let him see her. And she got in contact with us about, oh gosh, probably had to be before his mom died. So it's probably been a good 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And of course, she was very angry at her father, thinking that he had just forgotten about her. And Pete and I made the conscious decision not to tell her our side of the story and the things that had happened in him trying to get in touch with her and Sharon refusing to allow
Yeah.
it. And mainly because, you know, we didn't want she'd grown up with Sharon, and we didn't want to speak poorly of her mother.
Yeah, but
Um,
that's like out of the respect, and
right.
that's very kind of you because many people wouldn't do that. And
Yeah.
well, I think by asking and doing her own due diligence, she will find out
I
things
think
for
she
her
will
own
eventually.
over time. So
Well,
it's not like
I can't speak for her brothers and sisters. They may tell her exactly what we but
yeah, well,
you know,
that's like between them,
yeah.
but at least you
Yeah.
are acting
Um
like the adult in the room, and that's the most important thing.
yeah. So she and Pete, actually she got in touch through me, and I gave her my number and she called me and we talked a little bit. And I said, well, I said, I'm going to hand you off to your dad and I'm going to let you discuss this stuff with your dad because it's stuff you need to discuss with your dad.
Yeah.
Are you okay with that? And she said, yeah. And so I walked into the other room and I handed him the phone. I said, somebody wants to talk to you, and walked away. And they spent the next 3 hours hashing through those things. And, I was in the vicinity to deal with things if I needed to. But basically, I let them work their way through it. And, so that was a really difficult time. Well, he has never been particularly good at keeping up with people, nor have I. And apparently, neither is Stephanie. And there was some distance and so on and so forth. And then when all this went down, uh, I let her know pretty quickly. Or actually, I called her on her dad's phone and handed it to Peter to explain what was going on because at the time I was just not, it was
Yeah.
not a good thing. And so she and I have talked numerous times since then, on the phone and through text and through email.
Yeah. I'm just
Um,
gonna put up your channel here because
okay.
if anyone wants to help or support you, you
Yeah.
can just give me the info and I will put up because
My Cash App is on Oh Hell Knows.
yeah.
A link for
So
that is on Oh
please,
Hell
if
No.
anyone just I mean, every little thing helps. I mean,
Yes. Yes, it
it's
does.
yeah, this is for a friend. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
totally out of my depth on the things like this, but if you have the possibility of anyway helping, please do. But that's not the reason why we have this.
No,
It's
we're
just
not having
the
this
idea
time.
I got while we're talking.
Yeah,
And
it's not.
also
Yeah.
give her subscriptions because I
Yes,
mean
that would be
that's
nice as
also
well.
one way to to
Well, I'm a
help.
long way from being monetized, so
Well,
um,
people can give you watch hours, I'm
yeah.
sure.
And
But
it's really odd because when all this went down on the 25th, I had gotten up later in the morning than he had because you know me, I'm up late. Um, and I was working on a thumbnail for a live stream I was planning to do that day, which was going to talk about moving on from what had been going on in the community and moving a different direction and talking about how do you find out who your congressman is so that you can write them to say, hey, are you, the thing that Aaron's trying to do with, are you willing to support a, uh, what do you
yeah,
call
this
it?
probing
That
for
thing. Yeah.
these hearings and stuff to see
Right.
if
Right.
and how
Um,
we can approach it. And I mean that's a very good idea because
yeah.
that's basically counter safe pointing.
Right. And in all the discussion that Aaron had, one of the things and everybody had and all the information that's on SPTV dot space, one of the things that's not there is how do you find out who your congressman is?
Yeah.
And so I had gone through and I'd pulled up all the individual pages that I was going to show and all this other stuff. And I was making the thumbnail for it. Excuse me. And I had almost finished it, and it's at the exact same spot where I stopped in it. I'd almost finished it when Pete walked in and said he wasn't feeling well. And interestingly enough, the title of that stream was going to be Moving On. And now
Kind
that
of
has,
ominous, isn't it?
yeah, it has a whole new meaning. And chances are I will still use that thumbnail, but it will be a whole different topic when I do. And I'm not there yet to actually stand on my own and do a full on live stream um, to do that yet. Uh, but
Well, it's baby
but
steps. It's
yeah,
baby steps.
yeah, it was very um, ironic. I'll call it. Um,
Well, fate has a very
yeah,
twisted sense of humor sometimes.
yeah, it can kiss my ass, is what it can do.
Oh yeah,
Um, yeah,
I can imagine.
it was it was a very that day is it is something that runs through my head like like one of those commercials that you hear over and over and over again, and you're like going, God, please stop.
And
But it
it's an
doesn't.
instant loop. It's like a Groundhog Day in your brain.
Yeah, very much so. But there's nothing I can do to change it. Like Bill Murray couldn't do anything to change it,
No,
Um, and it's it's something. I mean, every night before I go to bed, it runs through my head constantly, and that's why I have to take something to knock me out, because if not, I would not sleep. Um, it's it is very. I do okay through the day. It's at night,
yeah.
or the times when he would normally be home, that I have the most trouble.
Well, you're
Um,
still in a very much in a form of adjustment,
oh
very
God,
very
I haven't
early
even
into this.
started yet. I haven't
Yeah,
even started adjusting yet.
yeah. So I mean,
I'm still
all
coming out of the shock of it
yeah.
all. Um, it is. I mean, I have probably been in shock for this. It'll be a month in 2 days. Um,
And still, imagine it has been almost a month already,
mhm.
but for you, time has almost stood still, right?
Yeah, yeah. Um, I'm still in shock, but I'm slowly coming out of it. Um, I find that the fact that I have the mindset of having worked in a medical field, albeit animals, but it is a medical field, and when emergencies happen, your brain almost switches off, and you literally are in a state of don't ask, don't think, just do.
Well, that is also a sort of training because that is
Very
kind
much
of
so.
built up resilience
Yes, very much so.
because instead of getting stuck or paralyzed, you
Or
are
emotional. Yeah.
yeah. So Maya, give me a thumbs up when you're ready to enter. So welcome,
Hey,
welcome Maya.
Maya.
Hi, hi, Sim.
Oh,
Hey.
I must change the view because right now we don't see much of you at all.
That's
It's
because you have
okay.
that thing up. Yeah.
There we have.
There you go.
Yeah,
Um. Anyway,
welcome.
it's like I said, your brain almost shifts off, and all you're thinking is, what do I have to do?
Yeah,
What do I have to do right now, um, to change what's going on? And that is a blessing and a curse in some ways, because it's a blessing because it allowed me to react quickly and do what I had to do, instead of standing there with the phone to my ear going, "Oh my god, oh my god." Okay?
yeah,
Um it's a curse because it has taken, while it switched back to emotion pretty quickly, once I got through getting all the information out, um it still kind of cocooned my mind, and didn't allow me to truly embrace or deal with what I had just gone through.
Problem with that is you had to be, you kind of have to split you up in two parts. One part that has to be on the back burner, and the other one who had to be practical and deal with everything.
Yes.
And that, I mean, before you have matched those two parts of you back together again, that will take its own time.
Yeah. But what it's done is it's allowed me to stay in this shock mindset
Yeah.
for much longer than I think it would have normally. Um,
Then again, you have been forced to deal with things perhaps in a way that many other people wouldn't even be able to do, but you have done it. I mean, you have met very much resilience in you, and that's important too.
Quite possibly. I mean, I don't know many people who could have, in that moment of realizing what had just happened, as he was sitting on the sofa and I was talking to the 911 operator, okay,
Yeah.
could have switched to literally do what you have to do as
Yeah, I call that
quickly as
switching
I
to the
did.
crisis mode, kind of,
Yeah,
because
it
it's not.
literally did. Yeah,
Yeah,
it did. It literally, the amount of time that it took for me. I mean, I was already halfway there when I called 911 because I was already giving her the information of the symptoms I was seeing. Okay, as
yeah.
I picked up the phone, hit the emergency dial, gave her my address, and then walked from my bedroom into the kitchen and the living room, um, with the phone to my ear, with the operator asking me um, what
Standard.
what was going on, what was the
Yeah,
emergency, and um, for me to have just told her that my husband's having chest pains, nausea, and difficulty breathing. To what he did right then, as those words, last of those words came out of my mouth, to me hitting speakerphone, throwing the phone on the floor, so that she could hear me as this was going on, going to him, shaking him, having the presence of mind to rub my knuckles on his sternum really hard,
yeah. Just to see if he reacts or not.
react,
Yeah,
to have the presence of mind to try to figure out if he was breathing and check for a pulse at the same time,
yeah.
and
All
then
that
get
is
him
situational
boom,
awareness.
boom, 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 just
Yeah,
like that. And then get him on the floor, check again, and start CPR. All of that was boom, 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 boom. I
but that's
mean,
also
that
part of
fast.
training, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's literally what it was. I mean, my
Yeah,
mind completely switched the minute he went down. Okay.
yeah.
Went from, I
Because
was
in that
halfway
moment you
there
detach.
already, and then I
You,
got all the way there
yeah.
in the
Because
split
that
second.
moment you detached from yourself basically and went
Completely.
into emergency room.
Completely.
Yeah,
Completely detached all emotion, everything was
yeah.
detached, and it was literally don't ask, don't think, just do.
Because many people will get caught in that
Yeah.
trap of emotions. I'm not saying that's bad or anything, but
Yeah.
it's just individual. But
Hmm.
I mean, you know, for
Yeah.
yourself, you do know that there was nothing you didn't do.
No, there was nothing I didn't do that
Yeah,
short of having, paddles in my hand and shocking the shit out of me. But
yeah.
even
But
then,
how?
I don't know that would have made a difference. I'll be real honest,
I'm
because
not
I
certain
don't.
if it would really, because sometimes when it is a massive cardiac arrest,
Yes,
that is basic. And after
it's
all, the
gone.
heart is a muscle, and
Yeah, they're
sometimes
gone.
muscles do break, and then it doesn't happen how much you stimulate it or try to help it.
He had a shockable rhythm. He was in ventricular fibrillation from the moment they put the pads on him until the moment they called him.
Yeah,
Um, Throughout all of that, he had a shockable rhythm. They worked on him 45 minutes, guys. I
yeah,
mean, that was after I had already been working on him for I will say no longer than 5 minutes, but I want to bet it was closer to 3.
Well,
Um,
time has a very,
yeah,
very different meaning
it
doing
felt
that.
like forever.
Yeah.
Um,
Maya, feel free to
yeah, if you have any
come
questions.
in anytime you want. So you,
No, I'm just thinking how important it is to actually know what to do. You knew what to do.
Well, it's funny. I did and I didn't.
Well,
I had
sounds
given
like you kind of did.
yeah, I kind of did. I'd given CPR to animals. God, I can't tell you how many times. So the process of that is is the same. The procedure, however, is different because you're talking about a person who is flat facing and an animal which is narrow forward facing. Okay. So where you're giving CPR on an animal is literally right behind the elbow on their sides. Okay.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're dealing with a person, it is while they're on their back in the middle of their chest. And so, like I said, the actual motions of doing it is the same. It's just in a different place. And so I literally, although I knew the the mechanics of it, just muscle memory from years and years of doing it. What I didn't know, or what I had to go back to my sophomore year in high school, which is over 40 years ago. I I took a health class in sophomore year of high school where they taught us CPR, and that's what I was using as a reference for what I did that day.
yeah.
Um, it is so I mean I was just as in some ways as clueless as anybody else would have been. But in other ways, there was the other side of it where I had the knowledge of the mechanics.
That
Uh,
helped a lot
yeah.
anyway. And I think while we're talking about this, I think it's important for people to know that there are CPR courses and they are
Yes.
not expensive at all. I mean, here
Yeah.
in Sweden, the Red Cross and
Red Cross does it here too.
yeah, and some other ones have
Mhm.
these to offer. And I mean, it's not just at home. I mean, you can be out
Anywhere.
anywhere. And I mean, as a
Mhm.
former bus driver, we had we have done that repeatedly in part of
Mhm.
our
Mhm.
training.
Mhm.
And also on we on the buses, they also have put
The
heart,
defibrillators.
yeah, the heart starters.
Mhm.
I mean, there are more and more of those things out, and I think there are even apps
They
telling
have
you where
yeah.
the most nearby one is.
Yeah, they are, and they're also they have some for in-home use, but usually those are for people who have a history of heart issues that
Yeah,
they do that.
but then again, you never know when it happens.
Right.
And I'm not saying that people should go run out and buy one
And
of
learn
those,
it.
but
Yeah.
it's
No.
good to know if there's anyone accessible
Well,
nearby, or
here's the thing.
basically that you can stop a bus and tell you there's emergency
Right.
and you
Right.
need one.
Well, in my case, there was really nowhere to go.
Yeah, exactly.
But one of the things I can tell you, and this is statistically, is that 95% of people you have to do CPR will not survive. It is very few that do. So
Well,
don't
yeah.
let that discourage you from learning it, but realize that if that person does not survive, it is not your fault because
And also
you've
the reason
done
for
what
the
you've been
why
trained.
you have to give them can be very different.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, drownings are different than heart attacks, are different than strokes, are different than hit by cars, accidents, those
Or
types of things.
by electric shocks and stuff
Electric
like that.
shock.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
most
Um,
important is that you feel you do what you can
yes.
and don't
Yes.
feel, because many times people will feel guilt.
I do.
That's kind of built in, yeah.
I
But there
feel a
is no
guilt.
guilt in that when you know you have done what you can.
I knew I did what I could in that instant.
Yeah.
Where I feel the guilt is earlier on in the day when he first when the things first started to I mean they were puzzle pieces, but they were somewhat together. They weren't quite there yet, but they were somewhat together. Um, because when he said he didn't feel well, okay, what's wrong? Well, I'm having this pain in my chest. And I'm like, well, is it like heartburn? No, it's higher. Heartburn's lower. This is higher. And then he laid down on the bed and then got right back up, immediately said he couldn't breathe. Those two puzzle pieces right there. And this is where I kicked myself because that started the thought process to where we ended up. Okay. Was chest pain, can't breathe. Okay. So I started asking the questions that you would go with heart attacks. Where does it hurt? Is it in your left arm? Is it in your neck? Is it in your back? All of these answers were no. Okay. And
And
then
that's
he
also
walked,
something
right. He walked out
because,
of the room.
yeah,
And
but I have to put in there the thing is, men
yeah,
react
they'll
to heart
have
attacks
the.
different than women.
Mhm.
Many times, people don't realize that many of these symptoms that we are talking about are mostly related to the men's
Mhm.
symptoms, not the
Yes.
women's.
Yes, but I mean, you would have thought he would have had some of those symptoms, and he said no to all of those. He said what he said about the back was that it felt like he had like pulled muscle or sore muscles. That was it. And then
Yeah,
he walked into the living room. Now the third one, and I kicked myself for that one because I had started to put it together, but I didn't quite have it 100%. Um, the next one was he a little while later, he kind of rushed in and made a beeline to the bathroom because he thought he was going to be sick. Well, that's number three.
yeah.
Okay. And when he came back out, I asked him if he was okay. He said he thought he was going to be sick. And then I said, do you need to go to the ER? Okay, right there, because I had three pieces of this and it was starting to click, is when I should have said, screw this, I'm calling 911 now.
Yeah,
Okay. That's where I kick myself. That's where the guilt is. All right. Is right there.
I understand. I understand.
Of course, he said no and walked back out of to the living room. And he came back in a little while later, again, a beeline to the bathroom. And then he came out of the bathroom and he laid down on his side on the bed. And I said, Pete, do you need to go to the ER? Well, I can't afford to miss work, was what he said.
I recognize
And
that one.
and what I said back to him sounds cruel and angry, but you have to understand where my mind was at the time. I was very concerned. And what I said back to him is, Pete, if you are dead, you will not make it to work tomorrow.
True.
Okay?
I mean, that's the facts. That's
That's the
putting it
fact.
straight.
That says to me that I had already made the thought that this was what was going on. Okay?
Well,
That
at
it
least
was
you
there
realized that there was a
subconsciously.
possibility of it.
Yes, it was subconscious mostly.
Yeah.
The fact that I had already realized that was what was happening, not necessarily accepted that was what was happening.
Well,
And
yeah.
he sighed and he said, okay, I'll go to the ER. And so he got up and started getting his stuff together. And I got up and started getting my stuff together. And I set my purse down in here and I walked out of the bedroom. And as I was walking out, he said something to me. And this is where my anger at him comes from. Okay. And I'll tell you at the end what he said because it was not conscious to me. I heard him say something, but I didn't hear what it was. But here's what happened with that. I walked into the living room, and as I did, I put all three dogs either in a crate or in a room so they weren't in the way. Okay. Something I would never have done normally, ever have done normally. So what he said hit subconscious. Okay. I got the keys. I came back in here and he was in the bathroom again. And so I yelled through the door. I said, Pete, are you okay? I didn't hear anything. So I yelled again, Pete, are you okay? Yeah. And then he opens the door and he's sitting on the floor of the, what we call a water closet. It's the one with just the toilet in it, in front of the toilet. And he looks at me, he says, I'm so weak. And I said, Pete, I can't get you up off the floor. And he knows very well of my back issues. And he says, I know. And so he managed to get himself up off the floor and walked into the bedroom and put both hands down on the side of the bed. Okay. And he looks at me, he says, do I have a fever? I'm burning up. And so I reached over and I touched his forehead. He was sweaty, he was cold, and he was clammy. 4-5. That's all 5. I'm there.
Yeah.
I told him, you go sit on the sofa. I'm calling 911. Literally, that's what I said. I was getting him out of this room into the living room where if there was needing something to be happening, there was room to work. Okay.
Yeah.
Again, subconscious. This is my emergency mind kicking in. Okay.
Yeah.
My phone was still in here. So I grabbed it and I hit the emergency call button. I didn't even unlock it. I just hit emergency call button.
Yeah.
And she answers the phone and she says, 911 emergency. What is your address? So I gave her my address and she said, can you say it again? And I said, yes. And I gave her my address again. And as I'm doing that, I'm walking out of the bedroom, through the kitchen, and into the living room. Okay. I got to the living room and she says, so what's going on? And I said, my husband is having chest pains, nauseous, and short of breath. At which point he picked his head up, looked at me, said, hun, and that was it. He was gone. Literally.
Yeah.
That's how it went down. And then, as I told you before, I immediately clicked it onto a speaker, threw it on the floor, and went to him. Yeah. And from there on, my nightmare began.
Yeah. But I can just by listening to this and just reflecting over it, I mean, first of all, you can never expect things to be that bad.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. The other thing is, to me, you did everything you could. Then again, many people, men and women, are very stubborn and afraid of going to the ER, especially, let's face it, if you go to the ER in the States, that can be
expensive.
Very expensive.
And we had two types of insurance, but it's expensive.
Yeah, and I mean, same thing, this duty to go to work. I mean, those things stress people up even more in a situation like that. I mean, he was feeling ill. He was feeling he was not well. Mm-hmm. But his worry was about you and the family and how to make to the work.
Yes.
So, I mean, this pressure didn't help him either in this situation.
Not in that situation. You did not.
No. And just want to say hello to Sophia also. Welcome.
Hi, Sophia.
But the most important thing is, I mean, you had the situational awareness. You had, as I said before, you had a basic training which kicked in.
Yeah.
I mean,
praise God.
You did according to, in my view, just by analyzing the situation. I wasn't there, but from what I can hear, because your description is very
complete.
Yeah, I mean, you have a very clear picture.
Think about what's been going through my head for the last.
Oh yeah.
4
weeks.
So
I can imagine what you have done now is been relating this endless loop that keeps running in your head.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you, there are no ifs, no buts, or if shoulds. You did everything the best way you could have done.
Do you want to know what he said as I walked out the door, which caused me to put the dogs up?
No,
He said, I've been having pains in my chest for the last 2 or 3 days.
that I can understand.
And when I think about it, it took me a while to get there. It really did. It took me solidly a week and a half to finally realize what it was he said, because I kept thinking, why did I put the dogs up? Why did I put the dogs up? Okay. It couldn't have been that I just figured we were going there, because I wasn't there yet,
No,
And I suddenly, as I started being able to go from just the start of the CPR to when they told me that he had passed,
yeah,
to being able to go back further in the order of things, that I realized what he said. And I go through its waves. I go from deep, crushing pain and sorrow to unbelievable anger.
of
Okay.
course.
And I mean, serious, unbelievable anger. And I realized that the anger I was feeling was because he didn't fucking tell me 2 days before,
Yeah,
because we could have avoided all of this,
yes.
probably, had he said something.
But
So
I
that's
think,
the next thing
yeah,
I'm going to say to people. If you are not feeling well, fucking say something,
better be
because
safe than sorry.
you don't want to put somebody in your family through what I am going through right now.
Yeah,
You do not want to do that. And the best way to prevent that, I don't care if you have heartburn and you think you're having a heart attack or gallstones or whatever, it's better to be embarrassed about going to the ER in an ambulance and finding out it's nothing major than to do what happened to me
yeah.
a month ago.
But sometimes I think people, especially, are afraid of. I know there's this kind of cultural thing that people don't want to be a bother, or people want to be strong, and people want to be this and
Well,
that, but people don't think about.
I've had times where I haven't felt well,
Yeah,
that I haven't told him about it. I can't, I say I'm so angry at him about it, but the difference is I didn't die.
yeah,
Okay. Um, but there have been times where, I have felt things that didn't feel right, or I didn't, that was just kind of concerning to me, and I just kind of kept tabs on it.
yeah,
Um, that I never told you, that I never said anything to him about.
yeah,
I think that's human nature. You don't want to worry people that you care about
yeah.
over something that may be nothing.
Because that's also one of. I think he was thinking more about you. He was more worried about what would happen if he couldn't go to work, because he knew how important that was.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I'm sure that was part of it. But at the same time, you know, here we are, and he hasn't been able to go to work for almost 4 weeks now, and won't ever be able to go back to work again. And I've lost not only his military retirement, but his paycheck.
And most of all, you have lost his company.
And I've lost him.
Yeah.
So if he was that worried about money, then, you know,
Well, sadly, in today's society, money rules. That's the
mm,
simple truth, and it affects us in a very, very
yeah,
tragic way, to
yeah.
be put it simply.
I
I'm
mean,
putting here from Sophia to you also.
yeah. And I mean, did you know I had lost Casey literally a month before I lost Pete.
Yeah.
And
And I was thinking about perhaps if I'm gonna write you something for Pete later, but
yeah,
I'm still. I
thinking
mean,
about that one.
yeah, I'm thinking because I can't compare my shop with yours because I was just beginning to learn to know him because I
Yeah.
remember all those talks when we spoke over your shoulder and everything and our talks. I
Yeah.
mean,
He was a great guy. I mean, he
he was
really
a great guy
was.
and I liked him a lot and I wish I would
And
have known him better than I got
yeah.
to, but I knew
Yeah.
enough of him to know that I will miss him.
hmm Um. Well, part of the reason he was so stressed was because of money issues that came about because of what happened with Casey.
Yeah,
And I kept telling him throughout the entire month, I kept telling him, don't worry about it. I have a plan. I've got it. I just need you to stay out of the back account.
yeah,
You know, I just need that to happen. And if you do that, I've got it covered. We're fine. Okay. We will be fine by September.
yeah.
And the ironic thing about it was the very last bill that I needed to pay. The money was literally in my wallet and I was turning it in Monday.
Yeah.
And it would have been
Thing
fine.
is, problem with us men,
Mm-hmm.
we tend to take it on as our duty and that we want to be like that pillar of strength instead
Mm-hmm.
of being able to
Lean on
be
someone
humble
else.
enough to realize that we are not alone with everything, that
Mm-hmm.
we still have someone to work with
Yeah.
and to
Yeah.
involve. So I think we are learning more about this communication of how we feel and how we think also. But
Yeah. I
still,
mean,
as
I mean,
Sophia says, this stress couldn't have been helpful for that.
no, it was not. I mean, he was definitely under stress. I mean, I had noticed that he was smoking more.
Yeah,
Uh, he had started smoking more about 3 weeks before, and I had kind of noticed. At first, I thought it was one of the kids taking a pack of cigarettes from him. And he said, no, he was smoking that. And I said, well, why are you smoking that much? And he said, because I'm stressed. And I said, well, hun, slow down. There's nothing to be stressed about. And he didn't slow down. And as a result, between the stress and his smoking, as much as he was, he died. And
well, to me, it feels like he was caught in a negative feedback loop, sort
I
of.
think he was. I think he was. He had lost Casey, which he was very close to.
Yeah.
Um,
So he was dealing with that sorrow.
yes.
He
And
was,
then the money issue came up because of what we had to spend on Casey.
yeah,
Um, which didn't help matters.
of course
And
not. Of course not.
then the stress of me saying, just stay out of that money and I've got it covered, when there were things he wanted to do and felt like he needed to do. Um, and that added stress. And then the cigarette smoking. Between those things and the fight that we had Friday night, we had a fight Friday night over bills.
Yeah.
And
And I mean, like the world doesn't put on hold just because
right,
something happens. That's the
right.
problem.
Mm-hmm.
So you're kind of forced to keep moving even
Yeah.
either you want or not. I mean,
Well, I can tell you, I
Sophia
didn't
has
move for
had
2 days.
something similar, but
Yeah,
it's not this. Every situation is unique, but I
yeah,
think Sophia, if anyone, with her recent loss, also can
yeah,
understand.
yeah. um, yeah. I mean, I think Sophia, I wasn't aware that you had a recent loss. I'm sorry to hear that.
Her father passed away not that long ago.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Well, perhaps we can have her in a talk with us sometime too. I mean,
Yeah.
I think we should do some kind of round the table talk about
Grief.
grief and loss, and also, as I said, what do we wish we knew before, or what could we have done to make
Just a
soften the blow?
little.
Yeah, just a little. I mean, the
There's so
loss is the
little you
loss,
can do.
and still, no matter how much you prepare, you can't be prepared for the grief.
You know.
Once it comes, it
Yeah.
comes.
Yeah. It is. It is mind numbing.
Oh yes, it is.
It
And as
is.
I thought, I started this. I wasn't expecting this unique opportunity to talk about this, so I started this as just I thought I just felt like I want to be social and having some gaming. So
Yeah.
I'm very
Sorry,
happy that you have joined
sorry,
me
I
in this.
hijacked it.
Yeah. No, no, you didn't hijack it. On the opposite, because I've been thinking about you a lot these later days, especially
Yeah.
while I was at work too, because you're a very important friend. You're a mentor for me in many ways about this streaming stuff and everything. And we have so many fun projects and everything.
Yeah.
And I
That
mean,
are
you've been
all
supporting
just.
me, so why can't I support you back?
Yeah. And all those projects that we were working on are all just kind of shut down. That's the
Well,
best way I can put it.
some things are on hold, and
Yeah.
that's where they're going to stay as long as they need. But as you see, Sophia's father passed
Oh,
away
well.
3 weeks ago, so
Oh, dear God. Right
it's
about
the
the
same
same time
ballpark.
Pete did. What
Yeah,
date, Sophia?
second, I think is
The 2nd?
yeah. I'm gonna put it up here.
Holy cow. Good Lord, Sophia. I am so sorry.
Yeah,
Um,
our condolences to you too, of course. I mean, so if you like Sophia, join us in a talk sometime. We can
yeah,
have that, but I think
get together.
this is more like spontaneous because just to be able to, yeah, the time after the loss is just weird. I think it is,
No kidding.
yeah. So I mean, I think it's just this opportunity to just sit down and just talk whatever comes to the mind can be a bit
Yeah.
uh,
There's
relief.
just so much that happens in such a short time, and when it first happens, there's so much that has to be done, and you have no idea what to do first, or what to do even. It's all thrown at you, and you're sort of like, ah, you know,
That
and
reminds me,
And that's the time you don't want to deal with anything. You just
yeah,
want to
yeah,
close the door
that
and
becomes like totally opposite to
mhm,
you're here, but you're forced to be there. It's
yes.
like, how do you force yourself to meet those demands and be able to meet up to that?
I mean, here's the thing. I was in the hospital in the emergency room immediately after the death of my husband. Within probably 20, 30 minutes of being told that he was gone. I knew he was gone already.
Yeah,
Um,
I just
but
want to put it in this here.
yeah,
Sophia says her dad was over preparer and raised us as such. So perhaps it
yeah,
was a bit of the German efficiency. But
could
then
be.
again, don't you have some German
I
everything?
do. I
Yeah.
do, but
So you're kind
was
of
not raised that way.
yeah,
So, you
yeah,
know, um but here I am sitting on a hospital gurney as they are running tests on me to make sure I'm okay. They actually ran a test on me for enzymes for heart attack. I didn't know that until I saw all the stuff, but they did because they were concerned about that I
yeah.
would have
Because
one right behind him.
yeah, but it's such a stress and
Oh
such
yeah, a shock.
strain on you. So
Yeah,
it's very natural, and it has happened many times
yes,
before.
it has. Or stroke or any of those types of things because I
Yeah,
do have high blood pressure. I am diabetic. There were mitigating things that they wanted to make sure.
yeah.
Um,
So they had to.
the So I'm waiting on these test results to come in, and I have managed to settle myself some. I am not a blubbering idiot anymore, and I certainly wasn't screaming anymore like I was in my side yard when the neighbors showed up. But
Yeah.
anyway, um, and the um, victims affairs officer for the Travis County Sheriff's Department came into the room and was talking to me. And at that point, my husband was still in my living room, and I didn't know that for sure, but he was. And in fact, the ME hadn't shown up yet, and she was telling me and giving me printout paperwork of the mortuaries in the area, um, just in case the ME did not do an autopsy. Because if that was the case, I was going to have to make a decision right then who was going to take possession of my husband's body.
That's the least you want to think about in a moment like that.
Yes. And fortunately, my dad stepped in and took that over. Um, he took the paperwork from me and he said, I will deal with it. Don't worry. And
That's a great support to have. I mean,
yeah.
the thing is, you never know. You can never expect to know how you will react
Mm-hmm.
until you're there.
Mm-hmm. Um,
Maya, do you have any kind of experience similar to this?
um, no, not of course not similar, right? Like I haven't.
Well, everything is unique, I mean, but
yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's a very good message to say that people have to be prepared and have to.
Doesn't matter how old they are.
Yeah, yeah, doesn't matter.
and that's not in a bad way, really. I think it's more
No,
about
no, no, and I just recently, like last week or whatever it was, I had a situation where because my therapist she calls me like once a week because so I don't have to go there, so we just take it on over the
Mm-hmm.
phone. And like the previous time, she didn't call me, and that was kind of, and I was like, "What in the world is happening?" What? And I was starting to freak out. So I sent her a message on the like the work from. I have her private number too, but I didn't. I was thinking all sorts of things uh, like did anything happen to her? Did anything happen to her family, or kids, or?
Mm-hmm.
But then I also because it's Fridays, and I knew that she have done some like course, like some things that where she goes away to do some, yeah, whatever. I don't know. So, but she always tells me, and but she didn't tell me this time, and I was kind of okay. I'm hoping she just forgot to tell
Mm-hmm.
me. And I said, so I sent her a message. She didn't get an answer, and okay, if that's the case, she will answer me on Monday. And Monday she did answer me. So then next time I talked to her, I was giving her the like, what in the world don't you have
Don't worry
you
about
have to make sure that if like what exactly happens if something happens to you or whatever that you cannot do this. And she, yeah, well, I've been thinking about that. Yeah, because there was a case where a psychologist actually died and some of his patients didn't get the real notice and it was just a mess. And yeah, but I don't know how to do it because no one can log into her computer like for to find the patient lists and everything. And I was like, you have to write some kind of message like and make sure that someone knows that okay, if I die, this message goes out, and if something happened, can't you just give someone access to your phone list of your patient? Oh yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, that was smart. Yeah, she could, but oh no, but I don't want to think. I don't want to think about it. It would be so weird to sit and and write the message that my patients will get if something happens to me. Yeah,
Ah,
well, it won't be exactly delightful to get the message either.
no,
But
no.
it's better than, that I'm freak. I freak out if I don't know, and who knows if when like stuff, I don't know the word, but like some higher up thing would go. That can take weeks. I don't know before the patients get the message.
And
Yeah.
I
So,
mean,
but
Sophia.
she
Yeah.
was kind of, no, I don't want to write, but yeah,
yeah, but
You need
that's
to.
the Nordic way of
Yeah.
dealing with things also.
You need to. I mean, it's not something you ever want to think about, but yeah. And Sophia, as you're talking about getting your mom out of the house, that's basically what they did with me. Is they got me out and away from the house before the medical examiner came and took him.
Yeah.
Because there was no way in God's green earth I was going to be able to watch them take him out in a bag. There was just not. There was no way. Now, my youngest son had to because somebody had to stay. But, and he volunteered. He told his brother to go with me. But, and he's had a very difficult time dealing with this as well. He's definitely been affected, more so than my older son. And I think that's why.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was, I knew, in fact, I knew immediately, because how that all went down is I had, after I'd managed to yell out all of his medical history, and I had turned, they had been telling me that how rare it was to come into a scene like this and find somebody in active CPR, that it was incredibly rare.
Yes.
And
really?
yes, very rare. Because usually what happens, and in my group therapy uh, sessions, we've actually talked about this. There was another gentleman who lost his wife somewhat suddenly, very much like I did, Pete. And his reaction was not um, to jump in and start. His reaction was to freeze, and so he feels a lot of guilt for not doing what he needed to do. And
Problem is also sometimes you're afraid of doing it wrong and to be the cause that someone didn't make it. So it's a very conflicting thing to
oh,
do.
that's the thing they never tell you when you take those CPR classes. By the way, guys, because let me tell you, the first compression I did, I thought I had fucked up bad. Because, and this is what they don't tell you, is that very first compression, when you do it, you literally separate the sternum from all the cartilage, and you hear it and you feel it. And
Because you have to get access to the heart, and
yes,
the rib cage is to protect the heart. But in
yes,
this case, you need to get access so you can squeeze it. Otherwise, it's no
yes,
use of giving
no
the
use,
CPR.
exactly. And that was the 1 second where my mind snapped out and snapped back, was because I initially, when I heard the crunching and felt it, was I thought, oh my God, I just broke his ribs. And then right back to it, you
Yeah.
know.
The thing
Yeah,
is, we have this
it's kind of
conflict
it's
here
kind of
because it's
common.
made to heal again if
It's
need be.
Yeah.
it's common to break the ribs when you do.
Yes. Well, see, I didn't realize that, because in dogs it's not. In dogs
Okay.
and cats it's not,
Well, they have
because you're
different kind of
coming.
build.
Well, yeah, but you're coming. You have to realize you're coming from the side, so you're
Yeah.
not compressing the sternum. You're compressing the rib cage. Okay, and you don't break the ribs because they're thin enough that you have that hard surface underneath, and you can pressure against that. Okay, whereas in a human, you have a whole lot of space between the front and the back. Okay,
Well, we
and
have built up a little bit more space inside here.
right. And
Yeah.
so when you do that compression, you literally have to break the sternum free to get the leverage you need for
Yeah.
for doing effective CPR. It's just like a lot of people don't know that if you find somebody in their bed or on the sofa like Pete was, or some of those things, they don't realize you have to pull them onto a hard surface, be the floor, somewhere.
Well, because you need a back support, otherwise you will just be bouncing
up and down. Exactly.
Yeah. So I mean,
yeah.
And that's okay. Again, we are talking from training and knowledge, but this is things that, as we say, we wish people knew.
But here's the thing. I think they don't tell people about that happening per se, is because then they realize that if you knew, you might not do anything for fear of breaking the ribs,
Yeah, or getting afraid of getting sued.
Yeah, well, okay. But
go ahead.
Yes, Maya. Go ahead.
I have a good friend of mine. She is actually she's holding like CP, like first aid
classes.
Classes, yeah, in Red Cross, and not only her, but I have worked in the health care, industry. So I have done some CPR training stuff, and I have always, I think I have most of the times heard that you might, don't be surprised if you break the ribs, but it's better to actually break the ribs.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
Well,
you have to remember,
and you don't realize how hard you actually have to push. And the speed. And my friend, she has made a when she holds the classes, when you do a CPR, you have to doing it in the tempo as staying alive, like it's quite
I did a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7. That's what I did.
That's the same beat.
Yeah, but that's But she says like the staying alive because it's kind of and to get some fun, to get it stick in the brain.
Yeah, the other thing you have to remember is, again, I was going off of information I had gotten 40 years plus ago. So they may have told me, but I sure as hell didn't remember it.
Well, you need to do a retraining at least.
I think I got retrained real well.
It doesn't hurt to spend one day.
Yeah.
If that can keep your loved ones with you a few more years.
When you get the driver's license over there, do you have to have like a no?
Only when you get the higher grades of drivers. The basic,
probably bus drivers and stuff.
Bus drivers and lorry truck drivers. We have to have it.
Truck drivers didn't have to.
No, but bus drivers have to.
Yeah.
But don't you need a first help class in Sweden to get like a regular?
Yes, we have Red Cross and many companies also do that.
Just to get your driver's license?
To get a regular car driver's license, don't you have to have the first is it
first aid
class? The first aid class.
No, we don't. As far as I know, we don't.
No, we don't.
But I think there should be. If they haven't had it, I think
we have to, at least when and of course that's a long time ago, but I do believe that they have to have a
well, then again, class. I took my driver's license many years ago, so I'm not going to say it has to. It was that way when I took my driver's license. I will leave it unsaid for now. I don't know for sure, so I better not say yes or no on that part.
Well, now that I think, are you talking about your very first driver's license, or are you talking about every time you have to renew?
No, the first time you get the driver's license.
Yeah, we have to do that too. That was the health class that I took as a sophomore.
Oh, yeah.
That was literally the health class I took as a sophomore. It was health, two semesters of health and one of driver's ed. So, yeah. So I thought you were talking about every time you renewed. So,
Yeah. But then we, because I was so many years in the line of work, we had repeated courses with pretty even intervals. So
uh-huh.
also when I did my army training, we had training there,
I'm sure
and
Pete had
so
plenty. Yeah, I'm
I
sure
think,
Pete had a lot because he was in the Navy and he was also, as a kid, 18-year-old, he was 17, 18-year-old. He was a volunteer fireman and not a paramedic, but an EMT.
yeah. But
So,
still, you will be involved in an emergency, and that means you need to be no. You have to do something, and
mhm,
that at least then you know about do something instead
mhm.
of just being totally
Well,
running
yeah, but
wild.
um, the point is that this paramedic or this EMT was making to me was that 90% of the time when they come into a heart attack or heart difficulty situation where CPR might have made a difference, maybe the people involved are busy running around and freaking out and freezing and all these other things instead of um,
Well,
doing
you went
CPR.
into first aid mode. You didn't went into
Oh, yeah.
helpless chicken mode.
No,
That's
I
the
never did go there.
no, and that's also important because
Yeah.
so I think if you really love your spouse or your partner, whatever, you should go to first aid class together at least once every or every second year, just
Mhm.
to have a
Yeah.
chance to be with
Not
each other
just
for
if you
longer.
love, not just if you have a spouse, but you have kids. You have.
Well,
Kids,
if you have
you're,
anyone you care for,
yeah,
let's put it that way. But as
yeah,
as an example, is many times it's easier to go with someone than going alone.
yes, definitely. But if you have no one to go with, you never know if you're at Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas dinner and you have to suddenly perform the Heimlich and you don't know how,
Yeah, or you can be
or
in the shop and someone just starts to
keels
feel.
over in front of you
Yeah,
and you don't know what to do. Now, there is some caveat to that because I don't know about in other places. Um, in some states, they have what they call the Good Samaritan law. Okay.
yeah,
And what that is, and Texas is one of them, what that is if something like that happens and you perform any type of first aid, CPR, anything, okay, and that person is either permanently injured or dies, you are protected from the family. Some states do not have a Good Samaritan law.
yeah,
Okay. You have to keep that thought somewhat in mind if your state is one of those, because unfortunately,
some people are greedy.
and litigious, and
Yeah,
it is unfortunate, and you have to decide for yourself if you are willing to take that risk.
yeah. Well,
This,
then
this,
again, if you have the
I can.
correct training, then the risk for doing it wrong is less
Right.
prevalent. And also, if you have proven training, they can't sue you because you are not a medical doctor in the same way. I mean, we have had discussions here in Sweden about people being too passive to help
Mm-hmm.
people in need.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, I was involved in a situation where it was about life and death, and
Mm-hmm.
I took a decision to step in and do stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Maya,
And
were you saying something about? You sound looked like your mind was blown that that would be an issue.
Yeah, I know it's an issue, but I cannot wrap my head around it, and uh,
well, you and me both.
yeah,
Well,
I
that's the
could
way
never
people are.
not do it. I couldn't
and
not do it.
because here, yeah, but
I rather help that person and then deal with it because,
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't, I don't. like, well, we don't sue each other here.
Not the same way,
We
but
Well, yeah.
we don't. So
Everybody
so
sues
I
everybody
would
here.
I would not worry at all if I like as well. No one will sue you for trying to save their lives.
Uh-huh.
Like, and we don't sue each other no,
We have
anyway.
here in the States,
So,
the problem
but
we,
to
yeah,
keep that in back of your head is
yeah,
just insane.
yeah. Oh,
And
I agree. But we have attorneys in the United States that we call ambulance chasers. That's what we call them. And literally, what they do is advertise for suing people over accidents, over injuries of any kind. Um, that is a huge issue here in the United States. And they make their living finding people that they can talk into suing somebody because they happen to step in.
yeah.
You know, that's
And
the way it is.
I think it's so sad
Yeah, I
that
agree.
things are. Yeah.
And
I'm gonna put a quote for you here that from a movie that I like a lot.
you and your movies.
Yeah, I know, but you will understand when I see this one. Let's see. I'm
Do you
gonna remove.
remember those quotes? I don't remember anything.
You know me. I'm the way I am. First, I'm gonna show Sophia's comment because you are giving us such excellent input, as
Yeah.
are you, Maya. I'm very grateful
Mhm.
that you were able to come in with us here.
Yeah. I believe that we have the same type of law that you have to, at least if you witness a situation, you have to at least contact someone. Um, I don't know
Well,
that for
at
sure.
least you are obligated.
Yeah.
You have to at least try to offer help. That's
Right.
the most important. Now, here's something I was thinking about what you told me earlier.
Yeah.
This is Matt Damon in the end of the movie The Martian, which I've is a lot about dealing with things as they come, either way you want or not.
Mhm.
And I think this is something
Yeah.
that this is kind of embodies what you've been telling about how you dealt with it. And
Yeah.
in this way, it feels like you really adapted to this because he said
Yeah.
he's having this class about survival in space.
Yeah.
And he says, as he says, at some point, everything's going to go south, and you're going to say, "This is it. This is how I end." And then you come to the most important part. Now you can either accept that or you can get to work. And then he says, after this, he says, then you start to deal with one problem, solve that one. Then you solve next problem, deal that one. And if you keep doing that, in the end, you will get home or you will get through it.
You'll get through it. I won't say you'll
Yeah.
get home.
So, I mean, you
Yeah.
will get through it, but it will be a tough journey and we'll be here with you. But
Yeah.
this is it's important to know. So, first step you're doing, you have started to accept it. To accept isn't the same thing as liking it or wanting it to be like that. But to accept it means that you have something to work with and deal with, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a little bit how I see it. So,
But it happened within a split second. I
of
mean,
course it does.
literally split second.
Yeah. But still, you
And I
have the
don't know that
mindset.
I don't know that I accepted it. I just stopped thinking.
Yeah. But what I'm talking about is in longer run. I'm not saying you have to do it today, but sooner or later you will come to this point where you have to kind of make a evaluation of the situation.
And move on.
Yeah. And that doesn't,
Eventually.
yeah, but that doesn't mean that you're leaving Pete behind. That just means that the situation, what happened, how you will deal with that one. Because right now, that is like a chain.
Well, it's so fresh
Yeah.
right now.
That's, yeah.
And that is the issue right now. It's so fresh, and it is, I mean, I'm not in a ball of tears right now, which is an improvement from what I have been.
Yeah.
I haven't had a panic attack yet, which is an improvement from what I have been. Um, and eventually the good memories will overcome this bad one.
And also, this is your personal journey, which is
Yeah.
important. I'm always saying that you have already shown part of this resilience because you didn't lose your head. You allowed yourself to grieve after you've done everything you can there, while dealing with everything they're throwing at you right now.
Mhm.
That's a huge difference, and that's very commendable about you.
People keep saying that.
Yeah, but you deserve to know it because so many people just sit down and get paralyzed because that is
Oh, I've
also
been
part of being
close.
human.
I've been close to that. Trust me.
Oh yeah,
Um,
still you have had a
if you'd have
choice.
talked to me last night, it would have been a whole different conversation because last night I was severely depressed. I mean,
Yeah.
literally, I was staring at, I think, my microphone, just staring at it, and it was unreal.
Well,
But I'm
perhaps an
better
intrusive
today.
question, but how does it feel to sit and talk with us about this right now?
Um, it helps. It does. The more often I tell the story, the easier it becomes to tell. Um, the less I the less I break down, the less I have to stop. I mean, if you heard me, was it a couple of days ago when I did the
Oh yes,
short
I
video,
watched that.
um, uh, where I was really having a hard time putting thoughts together. Um, and I'm different now than I was then. Um, Part of it, I think, is I've been to two sessions from the group session. I have another one tomorrow. Um, and I've told the story, and then I've told beyond the story now there. And then I found a group on Facebook that deals with loss of a spouse. And I actually, for the first time, typed it out, or basically wrote it out. And I
That's
think
all
that
part
was
of the
helpful.
process, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that was helpful. I think that got me to where I am right now. Yeah, exactly. And I'm not isolating myself. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I knew, like I said, I knew immediately that I was going to need professional help. I knew that immediately. That I was not going to get through this without some sort of counseling, some sort of peer group, something to get through
So
it. And I'm still looking. You know.
sometimes I kind of look at people, either they are doers or askers.
Hmm.
Either they do things because they have to do them, or they ask, "What shall I do?" You're
I
more,
spent a couple of days doing that.
yeah,
I did.
but
I spent a couple of days asking
yeah,
what I should do. But
but you
then,
have that good support, and
yeah, but
you
then
in your core are a very capable person,
I
which
am,
will help you.
as you, I think, well know, I am a person that if you point me in a direction and say, go that way, I go that way. Okay.
Wait a sec.
Ah, go on. Hello.
I'm gonna mute my microphone, so
Okay.
please keep talking.
Okay. Go ahead. Anyway, loud phone. Anyway, so what ended up happening initially was, I had 2 days of where I basically sat and vegged. I mean, I could say I was in real shock. Um, and then my dad started kind of pushing me a little bit. Now he pushed me a little too fast to come back to the house. He felt like, and he used his mother as an example, but my grandfather had been sick for a while, so it was not. And he was in the hospital when he passed, and so I mean, it was a different scenario. But his statement was that his mother basically decided that she was going to show people how to grieve in this process, and that she was going to be the example. And as a example, she went back and got life going again. And he felt like that's what I needed to do. And I, if you mentioned to me about going back to the house, I mean, just even mentioned it, I would fall apart, panic attack, shake, cry. I mean, it was incredible what it would happen. And I finally told Dad, I said, look, I said, you have to realize there is a huge difference between what happened to Grandma and what happened to me.
Yeah.
And he said, what was that? And I said, my husband died in my living room. That's the difference. And I cannot go into that house now. And he pushed me a little too hard. And instead of going into the house, I went to a crisis center. And went there. This was 3 days after Pete's death, and told them what had happened. And of course, I was a blubbering mess. And the first thing that the counselor there said was, you are not to go anywhere near that house. And I don't know for how long, And so I ended up going to my brother's house. And when I contacted my dad again, actually I contacted my stepmother, but anyway, when I contacted them again, I told them that I was at my brother's house and what the counselor had said to me. And of course they were I mean, so apologetic, but they were just kind of going on what they thought needed to happen. And I was hearing from others, don't take anyone's advice. You do this on your own terms. All of these things. And so I basically, I spent 2.5 weeks at my brother's after that. I literally last Wednesday night was the first night I was back in this house. Tuesday was the first day I actually came into the house. Wednesday was the first night I spent the night back at the house of last week.
Well, it takes time to claim the space back.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Does your sons lives at home? At least
yes,
one?
Right now, yes. Yes, both of them.
Both? Okay, yeah.
So I'm not by myself.
Yeah.
And I have the dogs, and they've been a big help.
Also, I have to cut this. We have been up 2 hours now, and I have to do some things. But I hope we can keep talking more soon again if you're up to it.
Well, I told you to get with me. I have this week. I am going, not tomorrow, not today, but Tuesday night I'm going to my brother's. I have the eye stuff that I'm still doing.
Yeah.
On Wednesday, and then I'm staying there Wednesday night, and then coming back here on Thursday morning.
Yeah. Just let me know whenever, and we'll see what we can do. And same with Maya also. Just let me know whenever you want, and perhaps we can invite Sophia if she feels like it, because she has always great input too. I mean, I'm blessed with happy friends like you.
Yeah, I'm just hoping I don't get ulcers from all this. And
but we can talk about other things too. But
it's up, Maya.
No, I just wanted to. You told that you've kind of felt the love from the community, and
I did. I really did.
We have asked, and we have
It has been the support and love from this community has been overwhelming.
Well, we know where you're coming from, so we care. That's the way it is.
Yeah.
And also, if you are on US time, and if you need someone to talk to in the middle of the night, you can.
I will keep that in mind. We'll keep that in mind.
Because we are awake.
Y'all are awake, and I should be asleep.
I cannot stand by always, but but most important of all, this will take time
Hmm.
and we'll be with you all the way. You won't be alone.
Yeah. I
That's the most
appreciate that.
important.
I appreciate that. And like I said in the video I did the other day, I thank you guys from the bottom of my broken heart. Um,
Well, you know why your heart breaks? Because then there's room for more.
yeah. Yeah.
But still, I have to cut this short. Well, we have been up 2 hours now, and I feel it
You
felt
need to
like,
get stuff done.
yeah, sorry, I have to.
Yeah, that was the
And
phone call.
yeah, well, I was reminded. Um, and Sophia, she has also, she is very practical
Oh,
and
I
very
know she is.
sensible.
I love
So,
Sophia to death.
oh yeah, me too. Same goes with you,
Sophia, I
Maya.
have not told in Theta about this. He has no idea that this has happened. And he knew Pete. He talked to Pete a lot.
That will be a hard thing to convey,
Hmm.
but it has to be done so sooner or later. But you decide when you feel like you
Yeah.
can, or he will find it out eventually. But
Yeah.
yeah.
I need to do that.
Anyway, my friends, I have to end this now for
Okay.
this time, and I'm very
Get with
pleased
me,
and
Deej.
grateful about having you with me today.
Yeah,
This
no
was
problem.
way better, in a sense. I was just thinking about sitting and gaming and talking to myself something, and we will have more talks soon again. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure.
Yeah.
I mean, we do this, and while we do this, life happens, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. As we
And
found out rather quickly, or at least I did.
oh yeah,
Um,
that train doesn't stop for anyone.
no. Deej, just get in touch with me and we will work something out about doing a
Always, my friend.
panel or whatever
Oh yeah, we will do
on
that.
this.
Or just have a spontaneous chat like this. Sometimes those are the best.
Yeah, but I think if we reached more people, I think if we get the message to more people, is
Yeah,
sort
we
of my
can,
thought.
but we can have a little planning before, because as I say, I feel like there are things we need to tell people.
Yeah.
Think about these things. So you could
Yeah.
make a few thumbnails about things I wish I knew. That could be something for you.
Yeah. Yeah. All I can say, be prepared. Make a will, make a plan, and for God's sakes, if something is going on in your life and on your body and you're not feeling comfortable about it, tell someone.
That's great. You have to share those quotes. Can you send me the link in the comments, Sophia? Tolkien quotes for dads. Well, anyway, also remember, better safe than dead, basically. Check if you're not feeling good, and don't take no for an answer if you feel someone is not healthy or feeling well.
Yeah. Don't
Because,
take no for an answer.
no,
Better to be
especially,
embarrassed than it is to be dead.
yeah, I mean, after all, it's about caring. I mean, there are levels of how you do things, but I think everyone understands what we're coming from.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. You could do that. Anyway, I got to go now, but take
All right.
care. And once again, thank you all. I'm gonna adjust the description
Good
and
to see you,
everything of this
Maya.
video later on. But
Nice to meet you, even though it was.
yeah, but thank
Well,
you
we'll
for.
meet again, I'm sure. We meet every so often in Pup Groomers chat.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, but now we get to
That's-
meet face to face.
Yeah.
That's always
That's
something.
cool. Yeah.
So take care all,
Okay.
and
Sweet dreams,
Okay.
everyone.
take
Or
care of
stay
each other,
safe or
because you don't know
be
how many
either
days you
way.
have together.
Exactly.
That sounds ominous, but that's the way it is.
Exactly. Y'all take care. I'm gonna back
All
out.
take care
Bye.
now. Bye bye.